It has now been 3 months without NBA basketball, and the wait is slowly coming to an end, or so we think. But with it being common knowledge that the NBA, the 21 teams in the playoff picture, and the Washington Wizards will be returning on July 31st, the attention of everyone covering the NBA has shifted towards those 22 teams. However, for fans of the remaining 8 NBA teams that will not be heading to Orlando, the wait for basketball is just beginning. So in order to provide the fans of struggling teams with content and hope for what's to come in 2021, I have compiled a reason for fans of each fan base to be excited. Yes, including the Knicks. Starting off in alphabetical order with the Atlanta Hawks. There are a number of reasons to be optimistic as a Hawks fan. Expectations going into this season were that the Hawks would be better than the 20-47 record that they finished the season with. But despite a poor record, Hawks fans should look forward to an improved 2021 for several reasons. However, I'm going to isolate Cam Reddish as a reason for Hawks fans to be excited about the future. Reddish had an up and down season to say the least. Following an abysmal start to his rookie season, Reddish pulled it together in 2020. From the start of the new year through to the hiatus, Reddish found his confidence and put up considerably better numbers as he began averaging a very solid 13 points per game on shooting splits of 44.5% from the field, a touch under 40 from 3, and 83% from the line. Now defensively, Reddish proved to be one of the Hawks' best defenders, which isn't saying much, but still. His quick hands, athleticism and size combined with a good defensive IQ was incredibly impressive, and his combination of shooting in 2020 paired with a very impressive season defensively, Hawks fans should be incredibly excited about what Reddish could offer the team going forward. Trae Young and John Collins might be one of the best young duos in the league, but having players like Reddish that can space the floor and make plays on the defensive end will be what turns the Hawks into the feared franchise they have the chance to be going forward. Now next up is the Charlotte Hornets. Now the obvious option for the Hornets is Devontae Graham, but you guys have probably heard about the season he has had, so I'm going to go with their first round selection from the 2019 draft, PJ Washington. Washington didn't grab the same attention that a lot of other rookies did this season, but for the 12th selection in the draft, Washington showed everything the Hornets could have hoped for. He put up 12 points, 5.5 rebounds, and just over 2 assists per game on good shooting splits, particularly from 3, where a percentage of 37.5 on over 230 attempts was a standout feature of his play. But PJ did more than just demonstrate an ability to stretch the floor. He showed his versatility on both the offensive and defensive end of the floor. Offensively, Washington is capable of getting to the rim off the dribble and posting up from both the high and low post. With the skill he demonstrated in his rookie season, I can see him as someone more than capable of becoming a 20 point per game kind of guy when he starts to get more plays run through him on offense. Now defensively, the NBA values a big's ability to switch onto a number of different positions above any other trait, and PJ showed he was capable of that. At 6'7", 200 pounds, he showed he was good at defending positions 3 through 5, with the lateral quickness to guard the 3 and the strength to bang with the bigs. Overall, I see PJ Washington as someone who will have a long career in the NBA. Players that can stretch the floor, score in the post, and defend multiple positions aren't going out of fashion anytime soon, and the Hornets got a good one with the 12th overall pick. Following the Hornets on the list of teams is the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's safe to say that Cleveland had another very poor year, but that's to be expected from a team that is in the early stages of rebuilding. The play of Colin Sexton was impressive, but I would like to shed light on another 2019 draftee, Kevin Porter Jr. Porter Jr. was expected to be drafted somewhere in the lottery, but managed to slip to the end of the first round, where the Cavs were eager to pick up the highly athletic, talented 2-guard. Porter Jr.'s combination of athleticism and shot creation makes for a very intriguing prospect going forward. He did have a very inconsistent first year, which was to be expected, but the flashes he showed were very promising for someone drafted at the end of the first round. From a defensive point of view, KPJ was statistically the Cavs' most impactful defensive player behind Larry Nance, and a lot of this was just down to the intensity he played with. Pairing his intensity with the game-breaking athleticism is going to make for a good NBA defender more often than not. Now offensively, he was able to create his own shot and provide for his teammates on occasions as well. From the start of the new year through to the end of the season, Porter Jr. put up numbers of 12.5 points per game to go along with a few rebounds and a couple of assists, on great shooting from the field and from 3. Now hopefully for the Cavs, an increase in role could see even greater improvements on the offensive end. Alongside continual improvement defensively, the Cavs might have got one of the steals of the draft with the 30th overall pick. Coming into the 2020 season, I wasn't expecting the Chicago Bulls to be the best team in the NBA, but I did expect them to compete for a playoff spot in a characteristically weak Eastern Conference spot, when it comes to the 7th and 8th seed that is. However, for a number of reasons, that did not materialize. But despite a disappointing season from the Bulls as a collective and a number of players, the emergence of Coby White has to be very encouraging for Bulls fans. On the surface level, White's 13 points per game alongside a few boards and assists on below average efficiency doesn't scream exciting, but what Coby was able to do over the last 15 games of the season was fantastic. With an increase in minutes and responsibility, he put up 20, 4 and 4.5 assists per game on increased efficiency. Now for a rookie point guard, it is expected that the efficiency might be a bit below the mark, considering the room he still has to develop and thus doesn't have the ability to finish as strong at the rim as the other elite guards. So when White's load increased, you would have expected his efficiency to decline or stagnate, but the increased responsibility led to increased efficiency, which bodes incredibly well for his hopes of being the Bulls' starting point guard going forward. Now, just to put into perspective how impressive White was in his last 15 games of the season, here are his averages over that time, and here are the averages from Donovan Mitchell's rookie season. Now, I don't need to tell you about the different circumstances and sample size, but that is the kind of level Coby White was performing at prior to the hiatus, and Bulls fans should be very excited with the prospect of Coby going forward. Next up is the Detroit Pistons. Now, I already made a video dedicated to why I believe the Pistons will surprise a number of people with their success next season if things fall into place, which I will link in the description, so I'll keep this relatively short. It's really refreshing to associate one of the NBA's feel-good stories with Detroit. Christian Wood has bounced from team to team throughout his NBA career. After filling the final roster spot on the team prior to this season, yes, he beat out Joe Johnson for that roster spot, Wood had to wait his turn, providing a scoring punch off the bench throughout the first half of the season, with Casey citing his defensive issues as the reason for him not playing more substantial minutes. However, Wood was unleashed in the last 12 games of the season, where he exploded for an average of 22 points, 9.5 rebounds, and a couple of assists over that period of time, showing all the tools synonymous with the league's best big men. An incredible blend of speed and verticality, Wood also demonstrated an ability to shoot the ball from beyond the arc, and an improved post game. Going forward, Pistons fans should be incredibly excited with the potential C Wood has. He really could be a special player. I don't think you can put a ceiling on him at the moment, particularly offensively, so it'll just be exciting to see what he can do with the backing of the coaching staff from the get-go next season. Next, they're winning 55 games next year if healthy. Now, the Warriors do not belong in this company, but those fans will still be without playoff basketball this year. So going into next year, here's what I believe they should look forward to. Draymond Green. Yes, we all can't wait to see the Splash Brothers in action and their top draft pick if they keep it, but Green is getting heavily disrespected league-wide, and I can see him proving a lot of those people wrong next season. It was only last year that we saw Draymond have a great playoffs, particularly against Portland, where he was a main factor in them sweeping the Blazers and moving on to a 5th consecutive NBA Finals. I don't think people quite understand that 5 consecutive NBA Finals means 5 consecutive seasons without a proper off-season. Now, some players might be more equipped to dealing with a minimal off-season than others, but I think the extended play has taken a toll on Draymond's body, and hence his regular season form has seen a drop off over recent years. However, now Draymond is getting an incredibly extended rest and an opportunity to get his body back to 100%. His defensive and offensive IQ is still going to be there. It's just a matter of staying healthy, which he has a chance to do for the first time in half a decade. Green is becoming an incredibly disrespected player in sections of the NBA community that I have seen, but a chance to get his body to 100% and have another run at a championship could prove a lot of his and the Warriors' doubters wrong. Wow. Malik Beasley. After being traded to the Timberwolves, Beasley was incredible for the Wolves in his 14 games as a starter. Beasley was just knocking down shots at will from beyond the arc, attempting over 8 threes per game and shooting above 40%. On the defensive end of the floor, Beasley recognizes that he should be doing better with the athleticism and tools he has, with him suggesting that his defensive flaws are more mental, which he was quoted saying. Now, there has been a lot of talk around the combination of D'Lo and Cat, but having a player that proves to be a 20-point per game scorer when given the opportunity, who can shoot lights out from beyond the arc and has the mentality to get better on the defensive end of the floor, is another piece to an offense that I expect to be one of the best in the NBA next year. The way Beasley was playing prior to the NBA hiatus could suggest he could be the ideal third option on a contending team. a player that is always crucial for teams that go on to be successful in the postseason, which the Timberwolves could very well end up doing if they continue to build around the promising young core they currently have. Now last but certainly not least, the New York Knicks. I mean, where do I start? The trio of Zion, KD and Kyrie were as dominant as we could have hoped. Okay, let me stop, that's just cruel. The current record holder for the best field goal percentage in a single season in NBA history is the New York Knicks' very own second-year player, Mitchell Robinson. And I think that's where we start. Robinson is certainly a bright spot for the Knicks. He didn't come on as much as we might have expected this year, but he still showed all the signs of becoming a high-quality center in the NBA, as someone who can cover the floor quickly, roll to the rim, and defend the rim at will, as we have seen from his incredible block numbers over his short career to date. However, one of Robinson's strength is also a weakness for him. His inability to do much more offensively than roll to the rim and catch lobs resulted in him spending most of his time with the second unit, where they were able to utilize him as a lob threat. If Mitch can add a few moves to his arsenal before he starts trying to become the second coming of KD, then we should expect to see him as a starter very soon, which would be a much needed positive for Knicks fans. Robinson has all the tools to become a very good center in the league, and a slightly refined offensive game could see him become just that within the next few seasons. So yeah, there is still hope for a number of teams that were unable to secure themselves in this year's bubble. Hopefully this is the only year we have to endure something like this, and the world and the NBA can get back to normality next year. If you did enjoy the video, drop a like or a sub. Either way, have a good day.